Hello, love. Welcome back to Awaken Your Authentic Self. I'm so honored that you're here. Come, before we get started, I invite you to take a deep breath with me. Inhale, exhale. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let yourself fully arrive into the sacred space. Today, I'm holding space for a conversation that may feel tender and maybe even uncomfortable. But it's also one of the most important conversations we can have on the spiritual path, and that is the truth about grief. More specifically, we're diving into the depths of unresolved grief, the grief we carry in our bodies, in our energy fields, and sometimes even in our silence. Maybe you've lost someone you love. Maybe you've had to say goodbye to a version of yourself, a dream, or a life path that no longer fits. Maybe you're carrying a sadness that doesn't even feel like it's yours, and you're starting to wonder, is it ancestral, karmic, or soul-based? If that resonates with you, then know this. You are not alone. You are awakening. And grief, my love, is something we don't get over. It's something we learn to honor, integrate, and hold sacred. So today, let's walk through this gentleness, honesty, and love. Let's explore how grief lives in our bodies, how it shapes our choices, and more importantly, how we begin to heal. What is grief really? Let's start by redefining it. We tend to think of grief only in the context of death, but grief is so much more than mourning someone we've lost. Grief is the emotional, physical, and spiritual response to any loss. And that can mean the end of a relationship, the loss of a home or a dream, being let down by somebody you trusted, growing out of a past version of yourself, losing a child that you never even got the chance to meet. Grief is what happens when love has nowhere to go. And here's something else. Grief does not have an expiration date. No one person can dictate your grieving process. Everyone grieves differently, and everyone's process needs to be respected. There is no timeline. You might feel fine for months, and then suddenly it hits you like a wave out of nowhere. Have you ever felt that? A moment of joy interrupted by a random tear. A memory that shows up in your dreams, uninvited but powerful. This used to happen to me. I would wake up sobbing with tears pouring out of my eyes with not even a memory of the dream. Or even a few months back, I was singing the happiest song I know. It's called It's a Beautiful Day by The Kiffness and Rashawn. And suddenly, I just burst into tears for no obvious reason. That is not to be ignored. That's grief speaking. It's not trying to break you, it's trying to be acknowledged. Now, something that you can use to help you with this is to create a grief journal. A grief journal is a safe space where you can write letters to the people, the dreams, or the parts of yourself that you've lost. It's not about fixing anything, it's just about witnessing your heart. And you can try this as a prompt. What do I wish I had said? Or what do I still need to hear? How does unresolved grief show up in our lives? Now, remember, we're talking about unresolved grief, the kind that we bury, the kind that gets locked away in the body and in the subconscious because it felt like too much to deal with at the time. Here's how that might be showing up in your life without you even realizing it. You could be experiencing emotional numbness or emotional flatness, like you're just simply detached from everything and people and places. You could be feeling anger or irritation, especially when someone else's pain just feels like too much for you to deal with. You could have or experience anxiety that doesn't even have a clear source, like it just comes out of nowhere. I remember once going into the supermarket, and the closer and closer I was getting to the meat section, I was basically having an anxiety attack and got full blown before I even got there and had to leave out of nowhere. You could find yourself overgiving in relationships or doing the opposite and just emotionally shutting down. You can have trouble sleeping. You can feel a constant, deep fatigue. That rest just doesn't seem to heal. Feeling stuck or like time around you is just frozen. You can have like constant self blame or guilt. You can be avoiding memories or overworking or overfunctioning just to distract from feeling emotion. This can look like resilience on the surface, but actually be avoidance underneath. Unresolved grief can shape how we show up in our everyday lives, for love, in how we take everyday risks, even in how we dream. It can cause us to live in survival mode where joy feels dangerous and intimacy feels threatening. And if that's you, again, I say this with so much love. You are not broken. You are protecting something tender, something that is sacred. So try this. Try placing one hand on your heart and the other hand on your belly. And you take slow, intentional breaths and simply ask your grief to speak to you. You ask, what do you need from me today? And you might just be very surprised at what your heart replies to you. How does grief affect the way that we live every day? Grief touches every single part of our lives, and often silently. It can influence how we parent. It can affect the intimacy that we allow in our relationships. It impacts how safe we feel in joy. And it can also color our ability to dream or hope. Grief lives in the spaces we avoid, in the conversations we don't have, in the parts of ourselves we silence. Grief, especially unresolved grief, becomes a lens through which we see the world around us. Have you ever found yourself pulling away from someone who loved you deeply? Have you stopped yourself from trying something new because of fear? Have you felt the thought of experiencing joy was just too loud or too risky? Sometimes grief causes us to live smaller than we are meant to. And not because we want to, but because we're protecting ourselves from more loss. It's a quiet whisper that says, don't open your eyes again, it might break. Don't open your heart, it might break. Don't try. You'll only just be disappointed again. But the truth is, we don't heal by closing ourselves off. We heal by slowly learning to feel safe in openness again, to feel safe within ourselves again. You can create a list for yourself, and you want to call this list Tiny Joys. Every day, do one small thing that brings you pleasure, whether that's a warm drink, a song, taking a walk. Let your nervous system remember that life is not only about loss. Grief and joy can coexist. And in fact, they more often than not, they do. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Some of the grief that we carry isn't even from this lifetime. Have you ever felt a sadness that just did not make sense? Or even a deep fear of abandonment, even in the safest relationships? Do you feel heartache that sometimes feels like it's deeper than just one lifetime? Like it feels like the relationship or whatever it is shouldn't matter that much, but it feels like it means so much more. That could be ancestral grief, passed down through generations, or past life grief, because soul echoes from lives before this one. Now, let me share. There is actually one day a year, and I do have it marked on a secret part of my calendar. And on this date, I am always sad for no obvious reason. Everything makes me teary. Everything makes me emotional. And I honestly feel as though I've experienced something very, very important on that date in a past life. Because in this life, that date holds zero significance. I try not to focus on it or think about it so that I don't want to bring forth that energy every single year, that date. But it's where when I'm having that feeling, I can at least go back and I can find it in my little notes section on that date and confirm it. But I want you to think about this. Were the women or men in your lineage silenced or abandoned? Your body might be holding the grief of people who were not allowed to speak their truth. You might be carrying sorrow from a lineage that experienced displacement, oppression, betrayal. Did your ancestors have to flee or suffer, lose their home or culture? This is sacred work. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing the whole family line. If this type of grief feels familiar to you, just try this. Create an ancestor altar. Place photos, candles, or items that symbolize your lineage. And each morning, walk over to it and say aloud, I release what no longer belongs to me. I honor you by healing forward. So the body keeps and holds onto grief. So let's talk about the grief in the body. Grief is not just emotional, it's deeply somatic. It can show up as a tightness in the chest, feeling a lump in your throat, gut issues or stomach knots, jaw clenching or migraines, chronic fatigue or tension, having a loss of appetite or just insomnia. The nervous system stores unresolved pain. To fully heal, we must feel and release it through the body. Your body is a wise, intelligent vessel. It stores the pain we don't have time to process. But do notice how it stores grief only in negative ways. But the good thing is that your body also knows how to release grief. It knows how to do it, and it craves that release through movement, through sound, breath, and through rest. So you can try this whenever you're feeling as though you're holding on to some kind of grief. Stand up and you start by shaking your hands. Then you add your arms to that. Next, you start moving in your hips and your legs, and you just do this for a minute. Let yourself move freely without judgment. Let the energy move freely throughout your body. Then after that minute is over, stop, take 3 deep breaths, sighing exhales with sound. Ah, that is a release or reset. Now, believe it or not, there is a spiritual purpose for grief. This is the spiritual invitation of grief. Grief strips away illusions. It brings us face to face with impermanence and the essence of what truly matters in this lifetime. Spiritually speaking, grief can awaken compassion. It can deepen your connection to Source, whomever that is for you. Grief can clear old karmic contracts. It can also reveal your soul's resilience, thus revealing to you your inner strength. Grief invites you to rebuild your life from truth and not from trauma. Grief is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken you, to open your heart in ways that joy never could and never can. Think of grief as a teaching tool. It teaches us what truly matters the most, how deeply we have the capability to love. It teaches that we are not always in control, and that is okay. We're supposed to go with the flow of life and not fight against it. It also shows us that even though it may be hard to see, but there is a certain beauty in impermanence. It teaches you to learn gratitude while you have what you have. It teaches you lessons of love. In every tear, there is truth. In every heartbreak, in every heartbreak is healing. This is the medicine of grief. It reconnects you to your soul. To use this, you can sit in silence with one candle lit. When you do this, you ask your soul, what are you trying to teach me through this grief? Write down whatever comes down, whatever comes out without judgment. Now, I'm going to provide you with a list of gentle grief rituals that you can try whenever you feel called to. Okay, these are like grief practices. A candlelight vigil. Light a candle for what or who you've lost and let it burn with intention. You can write grief letters. Write one to your past self, to your ancestors, or to someone who's passed. Take nature walks. Let the trees witness your grief. Hug a tree. I can't speak on this enough. Lean into the earth. Allow yourself to walk barefoot or slowly through nature and talk to your grief like it's an old friend. Try taking salt baths. Soak in Epsom salt with lavender and rose. Let the water hold your sorrow Or if you're not a bath person or don't have access to a tub, you can try sacred showers and let the water just cleanse your aura and say aloud, may all that is heavy be washed away. You can try grief sound release. You let out a moan, a sigh, or hum. Whistle. You can sing if that's your thing. The sound doesn't matter. What matters is that sound is vibration and grief responds to tone. You can also use crystal companions. Rose quartz is wonderful for gentle heart healing. Black obsidian is great for emotional protection during release. Moonstone offers you comfort through emotional cycles. Lepidolite helps with calming the nervous system. You can also use affirmations, which we also know I love. My grief is sacred. I am safe to feel. I allow myself to heal without a timeline. I honor the cycles of life and death within me. Now, here's a quick little mini ritual. You light a white candle and you hold a crystal in your palm and speak, I release what no longer belongs to me. I grieve with grace. I remember love. Blow out the candle as a symbolic surrender. Now, let's share energy here in a closing heart healing meditation. Okay? Find a comfortable position. Place your hand over your heart. Now close your eyes. I want you to breathe in light. And when you exhale, exhale heaviness. Breathe in the light of unconditional love. As you exhale, feel yourself letting go of the weight. Now I want you to visualize a warm, pink light wrapping itself around your heart. It's soft, gentle. It's safe. Now repeat silently. I am whole even in my grief. I am loved. I am held. I welcome healing. I welcome peace. I am whole, even in pieces. Let your grief speak. Let it cry. Let it be heard. Let any tears fall. Let any silence be sacred. Now, imagine yourself being cradled by divine love. Allow yourself to smile through this and feel deeply the emotion of love. You are being held by divine mother energy, cradled in warmth and compassion. You are safe. You are seen. You are supported. Take one final deep breath in. Exhale slowly. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. You are not broken. You are becoming. Grief is not the end. It's the opening to the sacred doorway into your most authentic and loving self. I want to thank you, beautiful soul, for being here and holding space with me today on Awaken Your Authentic Self. Grief is sacred, and so is your healing. Know that you are not alone on this journey. You are awakening, and you are doing it with grace. If this episode moved you, please share it with someone who may need it, or just leave a review. Let's create a ripple of compassion around the world. And please know, I'm sending you so much love wherever you are in your process. Until next time, honor your grief, trust your process, and remember, keep walking with tenderness, keep awakening, keep remembering you are deeply, divinely loved, and you are never too far gone to return home to yourself. I wish you peace, joy, and love.